Hey guys, Jamie MacDonald here again. This is going to be a follow-up video. It kind of goes hand in hand with the EM10 video that I did, because during that video I made mention of a camera strap that I started using. It's manufactured here in the United States by a company in New York City called Tap&Dye. Beautiful handcrafted leather neck and wrist straps. So I've had the straps for a few weeks now, and I figured it made more sense to wait a couple of weeks before I did the review, and I'll explain why I waited the amount of time that I did before I actually did this video review for those straps. So stay tuned, you guys. Tap&Dye coming up. Alright, you guys, let's get this review started, shall we? First up is going to be the Tap&Dye Legacy wrist strap. One of the cool things about the mirrorless cameras, of course, is their size, and oftentimes we can get away with just a wrist strap and not necessarily have to use a neck strap. Again, this might be something that's a personal preference. For my daily driver, which is usually either the Pen EP5, which is this camera right here, or the new Olympus OMD EM10, I prefer to have a wrist strap on those because there's no grip for the pen, and even though the EM10 has a small grip you can get for it, I use it without a grip just to keep the form factor small. So with the Legacy hand strap or wrist strap, we've got a couple of features I want to point out. Number one is you've got this little D-ring right here that can slide along the length of the strap. What this would be used for is just kind of tightening the strap up on your wrist. I slip it on my wrist like this, and I'll grab it with these two fingers and I'll draw it snug. So now it's pretty secure on my wrist. That's just something that I do. I don't know if it was designed that way on purpose or not, but that's how I use it. So I can put it on one-handed. Taking it off one-handed isn't quite as easy. So one of the features that we have on the Tap&Dye straps, something that you can order or go without, is this little leather bumper. The purpose of this bumper is to keep the split ring from rubbing on your camera body. If this bumper wasn't here, that split ring could rub on the camera body and scuff it up. And that doesn't really bother me if I have a few scuff marks on my camera. I mean, they're a tool. They get used. They're going to get abused. But if it was like some crazy, $7,000 Leica, yeah, I could maybe understand why you might want that little extra protection. It's a cool feature, and I don't follow the camera strap industry per se, so I don't know if this is something that's completely new that the gentleman over at Tap&Dye came up with on his own. Regardless, it's really cool. And while we're speaking of the split ring and rubbing on the camera body, I want to point out the split rings on the Tap&Dye straps. On some of my other camera straps that were supplied by the manufacturer, if they do have a split ring, the split ring seems to usually be a lighter gauge material. The split rings that are used by Tap&Dye, these are heavy gauge steel, really beefy. So what that means is, obviously they're going to last forever. They're not going to loosen up and come apart and fall off your camera and cause you to drop your camera. But also what it's going to do is it's going to make it a pain in the ass to put it on the lug point on your camera. The Photographer did a review of the Tap&Dye camera straps, and one of the things that he pointed out, I don't know if it was a con that he pointed out or if he just pointed it out in general like I'm doing it now, but it's a bear to get these split rings onto your lug points. So what I ended up doing is I ended up taking a dime or a quarter or something and slipping it in between the split ring to open it up so I could get it on the camera. Once I did that the first time, I kind of had it figured out and knew how it worked, and it was easy to put it on my other camera. So just something to note, that if you do order one of these straps, be prepared for a little bit of a workout getting it on your camera, but once it's on, it's cool. Something that I wanted to mention too about these straps is, they're leather, and they're good leather. They're not cheap leather like you might find from, like an eBay strap or something like that. So the reason I point out that they're good leather versus cheap leather is that good leathers, they're stiff, they're heavy, they don't flex much when you first get them. They need to be broken in. That's kind of the reason why I waited so long to do this little review, because I wanted to get through that break-in period. Admittedly, this strap is still really stiff because I haven't been taking like a smaller camera as a daily driver with me a whole lot lately. But I'll show you on the Legacy neck strap just how supple it can get after a couple of weeks of regular use. Little detail points to point out. The rivet that's used to secure the folds in the strap together, again, like a really heavy gauge steel, and I'm not sure what type of steel it is, but it's something that gets a patina to it. It gets this aged look. It's super cool. Again, if you're buying a nice leather product, you're going after a certain aesthetic, and the components that go into these straps lend themselves to that aesthetic greatly. The D-ring, again, is that same material. It has this, I don't want to call it a gunmetal look, but it's definitely like a it exhibits what they call brassing, where the metal kind of looks like it's got an age to it. It's super cool. I'm really floored by the materials that go into these. Again, this is a lighter color leather, and I know from his website you can get it in a couple of different colors. I'm really kind of a fan of this natural leather look, though. So yeah, this is the Tap&Dye Legacy wrist strap. The neck strap is going to be a pretty similar review because a lot of the components are the same, but there are a few other things that I'll point out on the neck strap as well. So again, the Tap&Dye Legacy wrist strap. If you're looking for a wrist strap, I cannot not recommend this. I can do nothing but say good things about it so far. It's phenomenal, and I think I've mentioned it before. I love the smell of new leather, and it's still got that smell, and it's awesome to open your bag and smell that. And that's the smell of craftsmanship and quality. So, again, Tap&Dye Legacy wrist strap. Alright, and this is the second half of the review, you guys. This is where we go over the Tap&Dye Legacy neck strap. Again, we've got the familiar features that we saw on the wrist strap. We've got this protective bumper. We've got the beefy heavy-duty split rings here that I kind of hit on earlier in the review about just how beefy they are. And again, just keep in mind, if you order this strap, use something to help split the split ring open. I recommend slipping like a coin or something in there to hold it open while you feed it through your camera lug. And again, once you've done it once or so, it's a piece of cake to do it again. I mentioned on the wrist strap that the bumper it doesn't feel quite right on the smaller camera like that. And on this bigger camera, the EM1, it doesn't seem to get in the way. I did find that when I first got the strap, because the leather was so stiff, that it kind of got in the way of my function 1 button here on the camera. I know all cameras are different and they don't necessarily have function buttons or other buttons placed in this exact spot, but I just wanted to point out, as I had mentioned earlier, the more you use the leather, the more it's bent and twisted and worn in, the softer and more supple it gets. And mine is now soft enough to where that this bumper is really pliable, so I now, just by second nature, will flip over the bumper like this so that I can reach my function button, because I use my function button actually a lot. So it just shows you how nice and soft the leather will get over time. Being that this is my workhorse camera, it gets more use than any of the other ones. So with that being said, over the course of the last couple of weeks here, this leather has gotten a lot of break-in time, and it is really soft. Again, I want to keep stressing it. When you first get the strap, you'll probably be put off by how hard it is, how rigid. It doesn't seem like it's very like it's going to be comfortable to have on. But just break it in. It's like a pair of like leather work boots or something like that. You need to break those suckers in so they get nice and cozy. Again, talking about the break-in period and all that. When I first got the strap and noticed the neck pad on here was just all leather, there was no sort of softer material or padding. I was really worried about comfort. But again, Justin over at Tap&Dye and his leather selection process has found leather that it's really soft. I'm not going to say it's suede, but it's comfortable against the skin. And again, the more this has gotten broken in, it seems like the more comfortable it's gotten. So it's not a negative. And I think, honestly, if he would have gone with something that had some sort of padding, it would take away from the whole appearance of the strap. So it's not a negative. Again, it's one of those things where you need to get it, wear it, get it broken in, and the comfort level increases with it. Like the other strap, this one also features, the embossing with the Tap&Dye logo, and that's probably nothing to everybody. Not everybody really cares to have branding showing and stuff like that, but again, it's these little touches like that just show you, that this is something that's made one at a time by an individual and not just cranked out by some machine in China. Again, nothing but praise for these products. There's something to be said about putting a piece of handcrafted leather on your camera. I wasn't a film shooter, so I don't really know about the quote-unquote old days, but it just kind of brings a certain nostalgia to shooting when you've got this piece of leather attached to your camera. So I know the reviews were short, and if you've got questions, please, you know the deal. Throw them down in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe and give me a thumbs up if you like the reviews. I'll have more things to review if you want me to keep reviewing. I know my review style is not a technical review style. It's more of just like the hardcore enthusiast, somebody who loves to shoot review style. Again, this was the Legacy strap series from Tap&Dye, both the wrist and neck strap. Oh, and one other thing to mention too. When you go to tapandye.com and you go to order a strap, you can actually choose the length of the strap. I'm not like a 6 foot tall dude, so I custom ordered mine with a shorter neck strap. It's nice to be able to do that. If you go and just order like your Olympus or Canon or Nikon or whatever strap, it's one size fits all, and that's BS, because sorry brother, I'm not 6'5", I'm 5'6", so I don't need like a 50-inch strap. And it's cool to be able to go in and just say, hey, I'm ordering this one-off custom handmade strap, and it's going to be perfectly fit for me, so I busted out my wife's measuring tape she uses for sewing, draped it around my neck, got the perfect measurement, and bam, here it is. A strap made just for me and just the size that I want. It looks great, it's comfortable, and it smells like classy leather. So there it is, fellas and ladies. Tap&Dye Legacy strap. Again, thanks for tuning in, and I'll have more reviews coming up if you want them. Take care. Bye.